From walls falling to worlds connecting, the last 2 decades reshaped everything. Ready for the biggest moments? Let's dive. Alright, coming in at number 10, we have the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. For almost 30 years, this wall wasn't just a physical barrier of concrete and barbed wire. It was the ultimate symbol of the Cold War. It split a city, families, and ideologies right down the middle. The hardware was imposing. Over 155 kilometers of wall, watchtowers, a heavily guarded death strip. Then, on November 9, 1989, a miscommunication and mounting public pressure opened the gates. Border guards, overwhelmed, let people through. The scenes were pure human joy as Berliners chipped the wall away, piece by piece. Televised worldwide, it signaled the Soviet bloc's unraveling and led to German reunification a year later. At number 9, the Chernobyl disaster, 1986. A flawed reactor design, operated by inadequately trained personnel, triggered a catastrophic power surge during a test. Explosions blew the lid off Reactor 4, releasing a massive radioactive plume. The immediate aftermath was chaos, compounded by official secrecy that hid the truth from the world and their own citizens. Firefighters arrived unaware of the danger. Days passed before evacuations began in Pripyat. The radioactive cloud spread across Europe, contaminating land, water, and food. A silent, invisible threat. The exclusion zone remains largely uninhabitable, reshaping nuclear safety worldwide and eroding public trust in the Soviet system. At number 8, we have the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope in 1990. Earth's atmosphere blurs light, like reading fine print through a dirty window, so Hubble went above it. Deployed into low Earth orbit, its first images were blurry. A national embarrassment. A microscopic mirror error, about 1/50th a human hair, but Hubble was serviceable. A repair was planned. In 1993, astronauts installed corrective optics, and the fix worked perfectly. Suddenly, breathtaking razor-sharp images poured in, from starbirth to distant galaxies and black holes. Hubble helped pin down the universe's age and its accelerating expansion, inspiring millions with cosmic art. Coming in at number 7, an event that showed the power of resilience and forgiveness. The release of Nelson Mandela in 1990. Apartheid was a brutal system of racial segregation. Mandela, a leading anti-apartheid figure, was imprisoned for life in 1964. For decades, global pressure, sanctions and boycotts, built on South Africa. In 1990, President F.W. de Klerk lifted bans and announced Mandela's release. Mandela, 71, walked free, fist raised. Remarkably, he preached reconciliation, worked with de Klerk to end apartheid, and both earned the Nobel Peace Prize. 4 years later, Mandela won South Africa's first fully democratic, multiracial election, the beginning of a new nation. Okay, at number 6, an event that redrew the map, the dissolution of the USSR in 1991. For much of the century, two superpowers defined the world, the United States and the Soviet Union. Beneath the surface, the Soviet economy faltered under massive military spending and low innovation. Nationalist movements grew as Gorbachev's glasnost and perestroika opened space for dissent, accelerating the decline. A hardline coup failed, and republics declared independence one by one. A cascade failure. On Christmas Day 1991, Gorbachev resigned, the Soviet flag came down, and the USSR ceased to exist. 15 new countries emerged, and the Cold War officially ended, reshaping global power. Now for number 5, an event you're using right now by watching this. Before the early 90s, the internet was niche. Academics, military, researchers, text-based and clunky. In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee invented HTTP, HTML and the URL, plus the first browser and server. In 1991, it reached the wider community, and in 1993, CERN made it available to everyone, royalty-free. Mosaic made the web visual. Companies like Netscape, Yahoo, and Amazon took off. The dot-com boom followed. The web democratized information, transformed communication, shopping, learning, and entertainment, paving the way for platforms like YouTube. At number 4, a moment of courage and tragic conflict. The Tiananmen Square protests of 1989. What began as student mourning grew into a mass pro-democracy movement of hundreds of thousands. They demanded reforms, free press, and an end to corruption. The square felt hopeful at first. Leadership divisions hardened, martial law was declared. On June 3rd and 4th, the military cleared the square and streets with tanks and armed troops. The crackdown was brutal. The next day, the image of one man facing tanks became a global symbol of courage, and political reform chilled for decades. For number 3, we're heading back to space for a truly epic achievement. In 1989, NASA's Voyager 2 became the first and only human-made object to visit Neptune. With 1970s tech, less power than a car key fob, it flew nearly 3 billion miles through the dark. Engineers choreographed long exposures at over 60,000 miles per hour. Signals took hours to reach Earth. Neptune leapt from faint dot to vivid world, violent weather, a great dark spot, faint rings, and new moons. Triton showed nitrogen geysers and strange terrain. It was a mic-drop finale to our first solar system tour. This next one, at number 2, is incredibly difficult to talk about, but essential to remember. In about 100 days, an estimated 800,000 people, mostly Tutsi, were murdered by extremist militias. Decades of tension, stoked by colonial policies and hate media, ignited after the president's plane was shot down. Extremists seized control, used radio to incite killings, distributed target lists, and armed civilians. The UN force was under-equipped and constrained. Despite warnings, major powers failed to act decisively. The genocide left a deep scar and stands as a harrowing reminder of the consequences of hate and inaction. And that brings us to number 1, an event that felt straight out of science fiction. Scientists at the Roslin Institute announced Dolly, a genetically identical copy of an adult sheep. Before Dolly, cloning worked only with embryonic cells. She was the first mammal cloned from an adult cell. Using somatic cell nuclear transfer, they fused an adult udder cell with an enucleated egg and jump-started division. After many failures, Dolly was born on July 5, 1996, sparking worldwide excitement and ethical debate. From medicine to agriculture, possibilities expanded, and tough questions emerged, changing biology's boundaries. So, there you have it. 10 of the most impactful events from the last 2 decades of the 20th century. From political upheavals to scientific breakthroughs, these moments changed history's course. We saw walls come down, new worlds connect, and our view of the cosmos expand. Alongside sobering reminders of risk and loss. Each event has a direct through-line to today's politics, technologies, and ethical debates, the source code of our world. Which event shocked you the most? Comment below. What did we miss? Was there a moment that changed your life? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.